Yo, 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 what is going on? Welcome back to Bank Shot Basketball, where we're always keeping it 100. And today, you know what time it is. It's looking like it's Tatum time. I got one question. How far can Tatum take the Celtics? His partner in crime, Jaylen Brown, is down. His head coach is looking like he lost the locker room. Danny Ainge, who knows what Danny Ainge is doing? Right now it's looking bad in Boston. So we're going to go ahead and break down their season. We're going to talk about offense, defense, role players, star players. You know how we do around here. We cover all our bases. So just kick back, relax, and get ready. Because it's going to get ugly. Real ugly. How ugly, you might be wondering? Let me tell you how ugly. 7th place in the East ugly. That doesn't make any sense. You got teams like the Atlanta Hawks doing better than the Celtics. You got the New York Knicks doing better than the Celtics. This is out of the ordinary, and this season has been everything but ordinary for the Celtics. So one reason why the Celtics may have struggled early in the season was because Jason Tatum was out with COVID issues. Since coming back, he's talked about it's been hard getting his conditioning back. He talks about how he has to use an inhaler now. Early in the season, those COVID issues really hit a lot of teams, especially the Celtics. Now, one issue the Celtics don't have is chemistry issues with their two stars, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Now, for the rest of the team, we're going to break down those issues a little bit later on. But as far as Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum go, those two guys, they get it done. Jason Tatum averages about 26, Jaylen Brown averages about 24. These guys get it done on the offensive end, and they also set the tone on defense. Now, this was a year that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum got to be the stars of the Celtics. In the past, there have been guys like Kyrie Irving there, Al Horford there, Gordon Hayward there. There have been times where there have been other players overshadowing them. This was supposed to be their year where this got to be their team. As I mentioned at the start of the season, Tatum was out due to some COVID issues, and now that we're getting to the back end of the season, it seems that Brown is down. That's right. Jaylen Brown is unfortunately out for the rest of the season and out for the playoffs with a left wrist injury. Now, this is unfortunate. You know, Jaylen Brown, he's an all-star. He's been developing well. He was looking like a good Robin to Jason Tatum's Batman. So it's really unfortunate that he goes down in the playoffs where they're going to need him the most. Now, replacing Jaylen Brown isn't going to be easy at all for the Boston Celtics. As I mentioned, Jaylen Brown averages about 24 points. This year he was an all-star, so replacing that type of talent isn't going to be easy. So hindsight is 20/20, as we all know, but one person that the Celtics should have went after when they had the opportunity back at the trade deadline was Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon was frustrated with the Orlando Magic. He was ready to go. He didn't want to waste any more of his good years there. And one team that scooped him up was the Denver Nuggets. Okay, so Aaron Gordon numbers, they aren't going to jump off the board here. They aren't going to amaze you. He's averaging 10, 4, and 2, but still he's providing extra depth to a playoff team that could use a little extra help. That same contribution he's adding to the Denver Nuggets, he could have added to the Boston Celtics. In fact, he could have added a lot more now that Jaylen Brown's out. I know. We can't go back in time and get Aaron Gordon. I'm sorry, Boston Celtics fans. Let's go ahead and talk about what the Boston Celtics did do at the trade deadline. So Danny Ainge finally gets on his phone. He calls up the Magic. He gets Evan Fournier instead of Aaron Gordon. He hits up the Wizards and gets Maurice Wagner. And he hits up the Bulls and gets Luke. Now, these guys are some decent role players. They're not amazing superstars. Danny Ainge seems to have a tendency to miss out on those big players people are always thinking he's going to get. Since joining the Boston Celtics, Evan Fournier has already been a little bit critical of them, calling the team soft. You know it's bad when the new guy gets there, you can already see the problems in the locker room. If Evan Fournier is calling you soft, that's a big red flag for me. Okay, so we touched on this a little bit earlier. We talked about how Danny Ainge is always missing out on big players. In the past, he missed out on guys like Paul George. He missed out on guys like Jimmy Butler. Now, the guys he did get was Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. Unfortunately, those guys didn't really work out for them. Kyrie Irving was constantly injured. He didn't always see eye to eye with Brad Stevens. And Gordon Hayward, he never found a place amongst his team. He couldn't find an offensive role with them, which is sad because he's teaming back up with his old coach from college. You would think Brad Stevens would know how to use him. Okay. So it's kind of seeming like the Celtics are kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't. They're a little green with envy. You know, the ex-players that they brought in didn't really work out for them. Gordon Hayward's doing great with the Hornets now. Kyrie Irving's doing great with the Nets. It seems like they missed out on big trades. They missed out on Aaron Gordon. In the past, they missed out on guys like Paul George and Jimmy Butler. The Boston Celtics seem to always have these assets and don't always utilize them. This year, they had a big trade exception and they didn't use that as well. It was reported that the Boston Celtics wanted Harrison Barnes from the Sacramento Kings. They weren't able to pull the trigger on that deal. People are saying the Kings were playing hardball and they wanted too much back. Well, either way, the Celtics ended up empty-handed from that one. Now, one person starting to feel the pressure in Boston is their head coach, Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens has been with the Boston Celtics for a while now. He was there coaching Isaiah Thomas. He coached Kyrie Irving. He's now coaching Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. He's seen a lot of different versions of this Celtics team, and he hasn't been successful in terms of a championship. Now, he's had playoff success. He's won some series. He's gone up in the Eastern Finals against LeBron. He's made it deep sometimes, but he's never won the big one with the Celtics. So it's being reported that Indiana University are searching for a coach, and they were looking at Brad Stevens. They even were offering him some money, it's reported. Now, Brad Stevens came out and he shot down these rumors, but they were still out there. And you know what they say? There's smoke, there's fire. And one thing is for sure, Brad Stevens is starting to get in that hot seat. It's starting to simmer up on him, starting to get a little warm up in here. Now, one person who's really frustrated with Brad Stevens, or is just really frustrated with the team, is Marcus Smart. Last year in the bubble, it was reported that he got into a little bit of a screaming match with his teammates, got into a little argument with his coach, Brad Stevens. He's a person that's really getting tired of this here in Boston. Now, one person that was supposed to make life easy for the Celtics was supposed to be Kemba Walker. But Kemba Walker has missed 26 games this season. Kemba Walker, walk it off, man. He stays hurt. He's always out. He was supposed to be a person that was supposed to make life easy for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. He was supposed to be a facilitator, a playmaker. At this point, he's just another guy out there warming up the bench. If the Celtics want to make a deep run in the playoffs, they're going to need Kemba Walker to be healthy. They're going to need him to be effective and efficient. Otherwise, it ain't going to happen. Man, this is wild. We talked about a lot already. We talked about Jaylen Brown going down, Kemba Walker missing time, Marcus Smart being upset. We've covered a lot. But somehow, the Boston Celtics still have a top 10 offense in the league. Green means go. And right now, the Boston Celtics, they're going. Tatum's getting it done for them. But how long can you keep this up? That's the real question. But one thing that the Boston Celtics really need to answer for is their defense. Right now, the Boston Celtics have the 19th best defense. Doesn't make any sense to me. They got guys like Marcus Smart out there, big old Taco Fall. Who's getting in the way of that guy and scoring at the rim? I don't know, man. But that just speaks to the Boston Celtics' lack of heart. Evan Fournier said it. Marcus Smart said it. They're on that bull right now. Brad Stevens seems to have lost the locker room. They have injuries. It's not looking good in Boston right now at all. So we covered a lot. Let's go ahead and we're going to jump a little bit forward here. We're going to think about the Celtics' future. What's going to be the future for Brad Stevens? Now, obviously, he's a great coach. He's good with his X's and O's. Everything's good on paper. And he's had deep playoff runs. But it just seems as the spotlight has gotten bigger on him, as the pressure has gotten tighter on him, his team has started to fall a lot more. Another person facing a lot of criticism is Danny Ainge. As we mentioned, he didn't pull a trigger on a lot of big deals, and this year was another one where he missed out on Aaron Gordon. Jaylen Brown, we don't know what his future could be. He could be traded, he could be a piece, who knows? Marcus Smart is definitely fed up with his team, and it just all comes back down to Jason Tatum. This video is called Tatum Time for a reason. Tatum's going to have to elevate his level of play. I know he's an all-star. I know he's leading his team in scoring, but with Jaylen Brown down, with Kemba Walker looking iffy, with Brad Stevens looking like he can't control his locker room, it all comes back down to Tatum and how far he can take this team. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put a bow in this video. It's depressing. This is sad. This is hard times right now. The Boston Celtics are sitting at the 7th seed, and if the playoffs start, they'll be taking on the Brooklyn Nets, and I definitely don't think they have the firepower to compete with that. In fact, we got a hot take right here. I think the Boston Celtics might be the weakest team in this picture right now. You have the Charlotte Hornets, who have a gang of players playing good. They got their star LaMelo back. You have the Washington Wizards doing good with Russell Westbrook putting up triple-doubles. Bradley Beal averaging about 30, 31 points. I think the Celtics might actually be the weakest team in this picture. It's sad when you think about it. Teams like the Atlanta Hawks, teams like the New York Knicks. Who would think the Knicks would have a better record than the Celtics at the start of the season? Not me. But hey, what do I know? If you guys have some different thoughts, put them in the chat. Maybe you think Brown gets traded. Maybe you think Brad Stevens gets fired. Maybe you think Danny Ainge is out of there. Maybe you think Tatum even requests a trade. Who knows? It can get crazy in the NBA. It can get crazy fast. One thing that's always crazy is the fact that I don't have more subscribers. Be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, and always share the video if you enjoy it. My name's Leezy. I've been keeping it 100, and I am out of here.